All right, so this tutorial, I figured I'd talk a little bit over blues improvisation now, a little bit of voiceover, or just a video with voice, not really voiceover. So I've been working on this improvisation, starting with like tenths and then jumping to a chord. So sometimes I use the pedal and sustain that while I'm jumping, and then sometimes I don't. I'm not sure which one I like better. I think maybe you can use them both, interchange them. This is obviously without the pedal. So just getting this left hand down so that you can try to improvise over it. Haven't done a whole lot of you can see how my brain stops working when I try to talk over it. So I'm not there yet. I mean, I'm getting better. I can sometimes keep the conversation going, but it still requires a lot of thought at this process, at this point in the process. Yeah, so you see, it's you go along and then you mess up. That's how it goes when you're working on some improvisation. I still think it's valuable though, because you're kind of seeing what you come up with, and you just need that practice. So to break this down a little bit, right? I have that's a tenth, in case you're unaware, but this is a tenth, right? And for many people, creating a tenth stretch from your pinky to your thumb is very difficult just because of the size of your hand. I'm fortunate enough that I can make the stretch in most of the keys. It feels the same, or at least in most of the keys that I've been using. There are times when, like in D, it's a little harder to, because you got to go not just to here, but you got to go up to this black note, right? And so that is a little more of a stretch, but I can still do it. And then the other thing you can do if you have trouble making the octave stretch, or not octave, but the tenth stretch, is you can use either use your pedal. So like, let's say I can't reach this. Instead of holding down the C and then going to here, I could hit the C, hold the pedal, and then just lift my finger up, right? So sometimes just that rolling. Like, I don't think that sounds as good, but now, I don't want to spend too much time on that because I can reach it, and hopefully you can reach it too. But if not, there's ways around it. There's also things you can do, like, stretching your hands, pulling. Let me see if I can get this, like basically pulling on your thumb and pulling on your pinky and really trying to stretch it out. Anyway, so working on this stretch, tenths, and then the 4 chord. Oh, let me go back a moment. There's the stretch, tenth, and then like the way that this works for me, and I don't know if you need this or not, but I'll explain it just because this is how I do it. I look at this note here, the E, as my target for when I jump up. I want to hit this C7. So my pinky is going to go where my thumb is. I just swap that out, and then I'd make the shape that I know a C7 is. Right? Right, E, G, C, and then the flat 7 is the B flat. Then to the F. This feels the same, right? You got your F, and a tenth is the A. Now, in this one, I don't replace. I mean, I could do the same thing, but the way I do it is I find the F, which I'm going. So this is an F, right? And I bypassed the next F when I do this tenth. But then what I'll do is I'll put my index finger there and create this inversion of the F7. And I could have done that with C, except listen, it sounds kind of muddy, right? It's too low. But if I jump up to here, that C7 sounds good. This C7, too muddy, right? So sometimes you're kind of forced into having to go to a certain chord shape, right? Whether it be the regular, root chord or one of the inversions. So in F, I have my index finger on the F, and I play this inversion of the F7, and then back to the C. Now with the G, I kind of do the same thing. My index finger is on the G. So let's take a look at it. So that turnaround, I've had a lot of people comment in my videos that they like that turnaround lick. And I have a whole video which is called The Famous Lick. I learned this lick many years ago when I was first getting started with piano, and I realized I had a love for blues music, and I learned this from a video. A different video, right? A VHS video way back in the day. But it was referred to as The Famous Lick. And if you listen to any New Orleans style piano, blues, rhythm and blues, Dr. John, right, does this a ton. So many blues artists use that famous lick or some version of that. Right, and it's been one of my favorites. I probably put the most time practicing that out of anything I've ever played. Anyway, so you check that video out if you want to learn that or have a more detailed breakdown of it. So what I was doing is just kind of following the blues pattern, the 12-bar blues, right? That's a look at maybe a little explanation of what I've been doing here with this 10th into a chord, right? So, and I guess this is like considered stride piano. If I'm accurate with that, I'm pretty sure that would be considered stride, right? When you do something like that. If you're doing this, try something simple, because there's a lot to think about. That's why you have to have that left hand down so good. And, changing those rhythms that you're doing in the right hand, and adding pause and being very busy and doing all sorts of different variations of that becomes difficult, but it's less difficult when your left hand really is locked in. So try to develop that. All right, so I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment, please subscribe, and I hope that was helpful, and we'll see you on the next one.